Welcome to McLeod Software's video training on feasibility. The feasibility command is located on the order planning screen. It runs calculations to determine if it is possible for a driver to deliver an order on time. The command takes into consideration a host of rules, including 11 hours driving limits per day, the 14-hour on-duty rule, and the rule for 70 hours on duty in 8 days. It also factors in loading and unloading times at the locations. There will be some limitations to this command. First, feasibility cannot be checked on manifested moves. Second, if the driver already has orders pre-assigned, you can only check to see if the first order assigned is feasible. And third, you do not have to have hours of service licensed, but you will need to manually enter the driver's on-duty hours on the driver hours screen. This will allow the enforcement of the 70-hour on-duty rule. There are some control fields that must be set on the Feasibility tab in the Dispatch control file in order for feasibility to project properly. See the video on this tab for more information. Now we'll go to the Order Planning screen where you'll see the Feasibility command in the toolbar. After selecting an order and a tractor that has a driver assigned, click on the Feasibility command to run the projection. Under Current Dispatch, you will see the status of the current order that the driver is on, the location where he last stopped, and his final destination for the current order. Under Hours of Service, you will see the driver's PTA, hours he still has available to drive, and his available on-duty hours. These available hours are important to the feasibility calculation. If you have checked the Prompt for Available Drive Time field on the Dispatch control screen, you will be prompted for the hours when they are blank or 0 in the driver's record. You can also change the available hours here and click the Recalculate button to recalculate feasibility using these new values. Next, you will see the pre-assignment that you are projecting. The empty fuel distance is from the final delivery location of the current order to the pickup location for the pre-assignment. The loaded fuel distance is the distance from the pickup to delivery, and the total distance is the sum of the two. A rate per mile will also be calculated based on the calculation set on the Dispatch control screen, which can be freight charge, freight plus non-fuel accessorials, or total charge. The Distance to Pickup field will display the distance from the final delivery location or the driver's last mobile communication position, whichever is the most current. Next, we have the driver hours table that is used for the 70-hour rule. It will list the previous 8 days of driver hours and project the hours through delivery of the pre-assignment. If you need to manually enter the driver's on-duty hours on the driver hours screen, click on the driver hours button. Then double-click on a row in the grid to update the record. For the projection to determine how many hours a driver will have available for the pre-assignment, you will need to update the hours field for the previous 8 days. If the driver has taken a 34-hour break, then check the Reset Hours box on the date the driver is available. For team situations, the Team Driver field denotes whose driver's hour grid is displaying on that screen. Click on the drop-down arrow to change drivers. Team drivers will be projected driving for 24 hours while taking the mandatory 30-minute break every 8 hours of driving. Next, there are 3 tabs on this screen. The first tab, Checklist, gives you a list of rules that pass or fail. First, the system will check to see if the driver has prior pre-assignments. If he doesn't, feasibility will be checked on the order that was selected in the order grid. If he does, feasibility will be determined on the first pre-assignment. Second, the driver event rule will pass if the driver does not have an event scheduled between the pickup and delivery of the load. Then the system will check drive time for the order. Drive time for pre-assignment is a reasonableness check for the scheduled pickup to scheduled delivery. For instance, a load from Birmingham to Atlanta that's scheduled to pick up at 8 a.m. and deliver at 10 a.m. with a feasible miles per hour of 55 plus loading and unloading time cannot be delivered in that time frame regardless of the driver's available hours, so this would fail. The next item on the checklist is the 70-hour rule. If the load cannot be delivered on time due to the available on-duty time a driver has according to this rule, this checklist item will fail. Dwell thresholds can be set on the dispatch control file to warn if a driver will wait too long at a location for the pickup or delivery appointment. It will also send a warning if the driver is projected to arrive too close to the appointment time and is in jeopardy of missing it. The last checklist item, pre-assignment is feasible or not feasible for this driver, will pass or fail if the load can or can't be delivered on time, obeying all the driver rules. The Timeline tab shows a chart, very similar to a driver log, of the driving on and off duty time that is projected for hauling the load. If the driver is in progress on a load, we will project the delivery. If our projected date is greater than the driver's PTA, we will use the feasibility projected delivery date. If feasibility projects a date earlier than the driver's PTA, the projection will use the PTA and add the difference to the driver's off-duty time. For instance, if the driver's PTA is June 1st at 8 a.m. and feasibility projects an arrival at the consignee for May 31st at 11 p.m., 9 hours will be added to the driver's off-duty time. The feasibility projection will honor the driver's PTA. The chart will also show each activity that happens on the load. When the driver arrives at the shipper, loading time either from the location or defaulted from the control file will be displayed as on-duty time. If you have checked Include Inspection Time After Break on the control file, it will be assumed that the inspection time is already included in the load time for the location. The driver will then begin driving for the number of hours he is allowed to drive for the day according to his driving hours available by obeying the 70-hour rule, which will be displayed on the driving row. The mandatory daily break hours will be displayed as sleeping. After the break, inspection time is added to the driver's on-duty time and he begins driving again for his available driving hours. This continues until he reaches the destination. If the driver arrives early or on time, the pre-assignment will be considered feasible. If he arrives late at any stops, it will be considered not feasible. Finally, the Activity tab lists the activities projected for the load in a grid format. The activities on the grid match the timeline chart. If the driver is late on any pickup or delivery, the row is highlighted in red. These activities can be sent to the driver by clicking on the ZMIT button. If you want to pre-assign the order to the driver, click the Pre-Assign button. If it has been determined that the order is not feasible, the user will provide a reason for continuing with the assignment and an order history record will be created. If you have further questions on this, a McLeod Support staff member is available to assist you. Thank you for watching our video training on the feasibility command.